All right, team, let's look at the literary devices that are covered in the most dangerous game. So, check it out. The first one is illusion, and illusion is harder to understand than it actually really is. I think because students confuse it with the word illusion with an I, but notice there's an A here, illusion. So, an illusion refers to something when an author refers to someone famous or something famous in the text. And this can be a person, a character, an event, a book, and the author makes an assumption. So the way to remember this, illusion, assumption. The author assumes. A for A. So some examples are the author could refer to a fictional character like Spider-Man, Santa Claus, the Grinch, or a famous person like Michael Jordan or Shakespeare. It could also be an event, the Civil War, the Super Bowl, 9/11, Hurricane Sandy. And usually, it will always be a big enough event that most readers would recognize what the illusion is. Oftentimes, it's either a book as well, such as Romeo and Juliet, the Bible, or The Little Engine That Could. Romeo and Juliet and the Bible, honestly, are made a reference to multiple times in a lot of novels and stories. Some examples. He's so honest. George Washington would be proud. So if you saw this in dialogue in a story, as the reader, you would know who George Washington was. So you would know what is being referenced to. His speech reminds me of Martin Luther King, I have a dream. And again, the reader would know what this allusion is referenced to because the I have a dream speech is very famous in our society and country. Metaphor is a comparison between two unlike things that does not use like or as. So the author simply says one thing is another. For instance, eyes were diamonds glittering in the moonlight. His face was ice frozen into place and showing no trace of emotion. One of my favorite Coldplay songs, A Sky Full of Stars, has a metaphor in that song because it states you are a sky full of stars. Simile is similar to metaphor. We have a comparison with two unlike objects, except we use like or as. So, some examples. Life is like an onion. You peel it off one layer at a time, and sometimes you weep. One of my favorite examples is the Rihanna song, Like Diamonds in the Sky, right? She makes that comparison to diamonds in the sky. And we have this example, her eyes shone like diamonds. Personification, the author talks about an object as if it were a person. So the way to remember this is that you see the word person in personification. So the author can do this by associating an object with feelings or have the object or animal talk or reason. You'll see some examples on this slide. For instance, the moon smiled down on me. Imagery is also a literary device, and it uses details and descriptions in order to create a sensory experience for the reader. And when I say sensory, I mean sensory details. So we're not just focusing on what the reader sees, but we're focusing on all 5 senses, like hearing, taste, touch, and smell. You'll see some examples here. I love this one. This smells musk from hidden grapevine springs. Auditory, the roar of trees, the crack of branches, the beating of a box. For foreshadowing, the author is going to give a clue to what's going to happen later in the story. So in this example, I looked back at the beach. As we drove away, little did I know that the next time I would visit the ocean, all my peaceful memories would be shattered forever. So the author hints that later on in the story, this character's life will be not as well off as it is in this moment.